Make sure you stay tuned to the Bing, Zang, Zoom, and more Macho Man Jefferson. Hello, you're here with T.
And Matthew.
And we are the Bing, Zang, Zoom Podcast. All right, so for this edition, we got the Super Bowl.
We got a lot of sports to talk about today. We are now a sports podcast for every episode. No, but today is very sports heavy on our list here.
Yes. So, what do we got first up?
So like you said, we got the Super Bowl. That was the other day, depending on when this episode is released. Right. I'm not sure our release schedule anymore. Yeah. But yeah, we had the Super Bowl. It was the Chiefs versus the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the game?
Oh, yeah. And you know who I was rooting for?
49ers.
No. The Chiefs. That's right.
Yeah, we actually talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the game coming up. And we predicted that the Chiefs would win. So
you know, you got to trust the judgment of the Bing Zang Zoom podcast. I'm just saying, it's usually best.
Though the real winner was actually anybody who watched that Shakira J-Lo performance.
Absolutely. You know, we won twice. You know, that one we didn't predict though. You know, yeah, that was decent.
That was enjoyable. Yeah. Although there's been apparently some backlash about that, but we won't get into that. But the one thing I do want to bring up is a lot of people have been making jokes about the tongue thing that
Shakira's tongue.
Shakira's tongue. That's actually because she's part Lebanese, and that's actually a cultural thing from that part of the world that is supposed to indicate celebration in good times. So that's what that was.
So now when all the creeps start doing that to the ladies out here, they can just say, "Hey, I was shaking my tongue out like that because, you know, it's a celebration."
I mean, yeah. You know, and the tongue is definitely something important in a lot of cultures. You look at, like,
I'm sure it's
Maori.
Probably what got a lot of cultures here in the first place.
Well, you look at, like, Maori warriors and stuff, you know, they stick out their tongues for intimidation. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. But the game, that's what we're here to talk about.
Well, I got a little scared about our prediction there for a second. As you know, at one point it was 20-10.
Yeah.
And, you know, I took to social media when the Chiefs scored their first touchdown, and I said, the first of many. And then we got scored on. And then, again. And I was like, what's going on here, guys? So, overall, good game, though, but it was a little scary with that 20-10.
He had you to shake the seat, though, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, 50 years. 50 years since they last won the Super Bowl.
50 years, and, man, I'm forgetting the coach's name at the moment, but he had the longest win streak without a Super Bowl victory.
Right. Most victories without a Super Bowl win, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's tough, but you know what? Let's give a shout out to the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, mind you. Yeah,
not the Kansas State Chiefs.
Yeah, we got to clear that one up.
Yeah, some people like to tweet about it.
Yeah. But yeah. So with that now, people might have a drought. You know, it's all done.
NFL season's over.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do now?
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm figuring we go into the XFL, which is going to be
extreme football.
That's right. They're going to have their first game coming up this weekend. And so we'll see how that pans out. Are you going to be watching the XFL?
I've not actually heard of it until I saw it on the list of topics.
But you're absolutely right. Extreme Football League. So the XFL is the football venture from Vince McMahon, and we all know Vince McMahon is the brains behind the WWE,
right?
World Wrestling Entertainment. And so he's now getting into football, and they had a commercial during the Super Bowl and said, "What do you do when Super Bowl is done? You're a big football fanatic. What do you do when there's no football? It's called football withdrawals. But don't worry, you'll still have football in the fashion of the XFL. Now, this is the second iteration of the XFL. The first one failed, and this time around, I think the advertising is right. I think they've got it planned out. I think there was more put into it." And I think that, they're going to have some pretty good players out there. So, overall, it looks like it's going to be good. And they advertise it the perfect way. For football fans, you don't have it year-round. Wrestling fans, you get wrestling year-round. You're good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of sports that are year-round, and there is, baseball, football, basketball that are seasonal.
Yeah. In this case, football fans, look forward to the XFL. I don't know how everything is going to work in terms of rules and stuff like that, but I think it's something to look forward to this time.
But so it is a new league. You said they tried to do it once before, and they're bringing it back.
Failed, yeah.
Okay, so this is like the first year that they're bringing it back.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think that it's got the right niche right now.
Yeah. Where are they getting the players from? Like arena leagues?
That I'm not entirely sure. Someone was telling me the other day that they have somebody that was of high celebrity, but I don't remember the name that he said. And so hopefully they're gonna get some good active guys in there that'll make it interesting to watch.
It's interesting that there are so many leagues out there now. There's leagues for everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Like we've got professional gaming has a lot of leagues. There's even I'm a big comic book fan, superhero fan and stuff, and they had a Power Ranger video game.
That's right.
That released not incredibly long ago for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
It's called Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and they just announced that there's a league coming for that.
Right. See, who was your favorite Ranger, by the way? Put you on the spot.
I always
which color in the original?
In the original team, Mighty Morphin. In Mighty Morphin, I was always a Tommy guy. He was the outsider. He was the one who didn't quite fit into the team, but then eventually became the leader and stuff. And I thought that was cool.
Okay, well, makes sense now. Right? Makes sense. The green jacket,
long hair,
right? I'm just saying. But for me, it was the Blue Ranger.
Yeah,
and for very simple reasons. He wore blue. That was it. He was blue. He wore blue. He was smart. Now, at the time, I didn't wear glasses, but now I wear glasses, so it makes even more sense as to why I liked the
He was really cool in the new movie, in the 2017 movie.
Oh.
He was the one that drove the plot, more or less.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, the video game it's really weird because it's almost like...
I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, the video game is weird, though, because it's like a Marvel vs. Capcom clone, basically, where you have the three characters and you switch in and out from them. And a lot of people are saying...
Same engine.
Yeah, same engine, or at least similar to it. And, a lot of people are saying that it's very similar to the mobile game that they put out. But there's going to be an entire league for it.
Right.
Which makes you think, has professional gaming come to that point that we could just have a league for just about any video game now?
Well, it depends because, any competitive video game like that, I could pretty much see it happening as long as it's got enough, players and followers.
Yeah.
Look at Fortnite and Apex, and even I want to see the Grand Theft Auto League. People play that online all day. Let's see that become something. I don't know how it would really work. Go by who has the most cash or whatever. And then another thing is how, in sports, if somebody is cheating via the use of steroids or the use of performance-enhancing drugs, right, they get busted. So what about somebody that has a modded controller? What about somebody that has, some cheat codes that we didn't know about? Maybe they got in with somebody at Game Informer or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there cheating in that? And if so, how's it regulated? And who's refereeing this? That's a question I have.
With the leagues now, a lot of them are done from from the people's houses, right? Because like it used to be, like I remember with like
you go someplace,
you go to you know, like San Francisco, I think, if my memory's correct, was the one that did like the Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 league that you meet up in a hotel and they would do it, right? So that's it's just interesting to me because I mean I love Power Rangers. I'm a big fan of the franchise, particularly the comic books. If you haven't read them, I highly recommend it. But this game is it's a clone of another game. It just kind of got put out. They're still releasing characters for it. So for it to have a league to me is just like the most bizarre thing. Not because I don't like Power Rangers, but because it's just like, is there a demand for this? But
oh well, I mean that's the thing. It's Power Rangers, so Power Rangers hasn't been, you know, around for so long just because it's, you know, people just keep throwing money behind it. Power Rangers is a pretty good show. And it's had several different iterations, and they're smart in what they do to get the show to us. But moving right along, what else we got?
So we got. Let's go into the world of boxing.
All right,
boxing for a bit. Let's follow up on. We had the Gibb versus Jake Paul, or Jake Paul versus Gibb, however you want to say that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely go with the latter. Jake Paul versus Gibb, because Jake Paul just he
first round destruction.
He thrashed Gibb. You know, good. Here's the one thing: I give them both credit for getting in the ring and actually boxing it out. So let's give them propers for that, right?
It's not easy, especially like. Oh, I did not hear that sound effect coming. I was like, whoa! Right. But I mean, especially for people who aren't professional boxers, that this being their professional debut,
right,
in front of an audience that size and everything.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
A lot of people, you know, it's different when you just get into a little scuffle with somebody and that's your first fight and you're like, man, you know, I really fared well, or man, I got my behind whooped. I need to, you know, really go back to the drawing board and see about this fighting thing. You know, that happens not in front of a whole group of people that paid to see somebody go down. Not only that, but just in general, any fighters, anybody that puts their skills on the line, you know, in front of a crowd like that, you know, respect to them for doing such for our entertainment. Now,
that being said, Gibb got crushed.
Oh yeah. Oh goodness. Well, all true. I think Gibb just came in there a little too gung ho, man. He was swinging. He was swinging and ducking and
very forward moving.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen the match, I think it is available on YouTube for free by DAZN, so you can watch it, because they couldn't put highlights up for less than 2 minute match.
Yeah, highlightless.
So they just put up the whole thing. But yeah, Gibb came in and he was very much the aggressor, forward moving, and he was slipping, he was ducking and going under and trying to do all this stuff.
It looked good
It
at first.
it looked okay.
I mean, it looked like he had a handle for about the first 10 seconds. It looked good. The fact that he
wanted it.
And
you could tell he wanted it.
I was like, oh, he's going to get inside and then he's going to tag him up. But he got inside and then stood there waiting for the next punch to be thrown to slip that punch. But the issue is what? What would you say the issue is with Gibb?
Well, like I said before, because we talked a little bit about it off camera, but with the slipping, the way he kept ducking and diving underneath it, it was almost like Jake Paul said after the match, he's like, oh, I started making contact with his head because I figured out what he was doing. I don't even know if that's what happened or not. I think Jake Paul was trying to throw body shots, and Gibb just kept ducking into them. And kept getting his face hit. But the main thing is he couldn't hold his footing because he slipped one time, and then he had 3 drops, but the drops weren't because he got hit so hard. It was because he was ducking and was already down, and it wasn't that far to go.
Yeah, he was full on doing squats in the ring.
I'm like,
oh, okay, that's 1, 2. All right, cool. I got you. Yeah, we doing sets of how many? 10? Okay. But see, I'm in agreement there. Like, I think that he was ducking, and he was doing good with like slipping the punches, but he wasn't just outside of the punch, which is the sweet spot, which is right where you want to be. Look at Floyd Mayweather's fights, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's right outside of a punch, barely getting touched. Sometimes just lightly touched, grazed almost, and then he's right there to come back with his counterpunch. And with Sugar Shane Mosley being in Jake Paul's corner, I knew that. As soon as you said that, I knew that Gib was gonna have a little ways to go, going against Jake Paul. But I didn't think that he was going to make it that easy for him. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I got to say, the Super Bowl we called, I did not call this one. I had said in our previous episode, I think it's going to be a really close match. Yeah. I think it's going to go the distance, but I think Gib is going to win by points, is what I said. Clearly not what happened.
Yeah, not at all.
But
that's what Gib was hearing.
Yeah, just ringing the whole time right in his ears.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me because you didn't watch any of their amateur matches, right?
No.
Okay. So Jake Paul had an amateur match against a guy named Deji, which is KSI's younger brother. Mm-hmm. And Jake Paul did win. Deji threw in the towel, so it was a pretty definitive victory. Yeah. But I went back and I watched that match after the Gib one. And Jake Paul only barely won against Deji. Deji did not have a camp. He didn't have a camp or anything. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, Jake Paul, you just barely won against a boxer who you massively should have outclassed. Right. A guy who's coming in with overweight, no training. Yeah. So I didn't expect this, but then seeing the back and forth is Sugar Shane Mosley really it was the thing that made the difference in this case.
I feel like the way you stay composed with a crazed maniac, that's how Gib was looking when he came towards him.
Yeah.
coming at him like that, like ducking and dodging always. It looks like he's about to, hit him with a big shot, and then nothing happened. He was just ducking and dodging. And I don't know, Sugar Shane had to have been part of that. Get comfortable with punches in your face. Get comfortable with, people ducking and dodging, especially when you have a shorter opponent like Gib was compared to Jake Paul. His goal is going to be to try to get in there, and just keep him on the outside. Don't let him get in there. Would have been what I would have told Jake Paul, but he let him get in, and then would just jab him in the face.
Yeah,
just jabbing. He's already, like you said, he's already halfway down. Just jab him down. Jab him the rest of the way.
That's all you had to do.
Step on his toe, trip him.
It's interesting though because this was in the YouTube boxing world. This was Vidal Riley's first loss as a coach. Yeah. But going forward, now seemingly we're going to have a KSI versus Jake Paul match. And Vidal Riley's not going to coach KSI this time around. He's already announced. Yeah. So with Sugar Shane Mosley making such a difference for Jake Paul...
Oh, they're going to be vying for Sugar Shane Mosley.
Yeah, it's hey. Who... Well, no, because that's who he's facing. So it'd be Jake Paul versus this other guy who's now coachless. So what I'm saying is, with Sugar Shane Mosley making such a difference, are they going to be able to find a coach for KSI that can make that amount of difference for him? I honestly am right now not thinking so. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
That's going to be... And somebody that's not... I'm guessing it has to be somebody that's not actively, fighting at the moment.
Yeah,
I guess somebody that has the time.
To
put into that. And there's not too many people I can think of that match the caliber of Sugar Shane Mosley. And I feel like if he's only going to get better, Jake Paul is only going to get better with Sugar Shane Mosley by his side. So yeah.
But one professional match to another. We've got Wilder versus Fury 2.
Oh, yeah.
The sequel.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that Deontay Wilder just squeaked by on that one, on the first fight. And he did have a big knockdown in, I believe, what was the 12th round against 10th or 12th, one of those.
Yeah, it went the distance, so it had to be in a later round.
Yeah. He had a knockdown on Fury, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was just that. It was like a knockdown, but Fury wasn't dazed or hanging onto the ropes or anything like that. and he's given Deontay Wilder the biggest test out of anybody that Deontay Wilder has faced this far. And I don't know, man. He's gotten in even better shape than he was in the first fight.
Right.
Like if you've seen him, Tyson Fury has shown up on WWE television recently, looking good. You know,
he looked a little out of shape.
You know, right. But I mean, it's always been. He's never been like the most in shape guy. He's just had his cardio and his hands are fast. You know, he's working with his weight. He knows how to use his weight the right way.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to work his own body.
Yeah, this time it's he looks basically he looks like he is ready for this fight, and he wants it. But while I'd say that Tyson Fury had to get ready, Deontay Wilder stays ready. I mean, so I just don't know. It's going to be another good fight. Do you think it's going to last 12 rounds again?
I don't know if it'll last 12 rounds again. What I will say is I always love boxing matches that end in a draw because I know that the rematch is going to be really good.
Yeah. Because they're trying to...
Because you know that each person has to step it up in order to get to that next level. But these two, it wasn't just that one of them had a bad night or something and that's what it was. They both became professional at about the same time.
Right.
They both have, from my understanding, they both have 6 belts each. They're so evenly matched as far as their career, like when they started, how many knockouts they have, et cetera, et cetera. Deontay might have a slightly better record, but I mean their records are very comparable.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so hard to say because I don't think that was a fluke that they you know got a majority draw last night. Was it a majority draw or was it a straight draw? I don't remember. Anyway, that they drawed. Yeah. You know. But as Fury said, he looks at a draw as a loss. So he's like, I'm determined now to win. So I think that might give him a little bit of the edge. But like you said, you know, Deontay Wilder is just his physicality, his training, his ferocity, which is funny because the Fury and then we're talking ferocity for Wilder. Well, Wilder is wild.
Yeah.
Fury has the ferocity.
Right. And I feel like, honestly, when it comes to boxing technique, I do feel like Fury has the advantage. I feel like the grit comes from Deontay Wilder, and you know he's tightened up his technique as well. But I almost feel like some people may disagree, but this is as close as you're gonna get to a big heavyweight bout where, you know, people wanted to see what they imagined what would it be like if Ali fought Mike Tyson. Well, they may be about the same height, or Tyson Fury is I think a little taller.
Right.
But
he's a giant man.
Yeah. But like, this is as close as it's gonna get right now from what we've had. If they were both in the same time frame, then this is as close as it would get. Not saying that Fury is Ali, and not saying that Deontay Wilder is Mike Tyson, but this is as close as it gets to that. Yeah. In my eyes. So this is going to be a good fight.
It's definitely going to be entertaining.
If it's not, then it's just because both fighters have way too much respect for each other. So that sometimes happens too. You get a stalemate because nobody wants to make a mistake. Yeah,
I mean, even during the press, because like they've been talking some crap about each other in interviews and stuff. But I mean, that's to a certain extent that's part of the game. Psych the other guy out and whatnot. Yeah. But I was watching the press conference. And then sitting in those big comfy chairs that they were saying, because in the first press conference, was like, the chairs are too small. That they're saying,
big guys, man.
Big guys, yeah. They're sitting in these comfy chairs talking about each other, and the commentator, I forget her name, but was like, well, you said this about him. Do you want to say it to his face and stuff? And they're just like, I think he's
right.
an okay guy. I don't remember saying that, but it's maybe a spur of the moment.
Right.
Like, both guys were very calm and composed and very respectful of each other.
What happens when you have comfortable chairs, man?
Yeah.
You know, these uncomfortable chairs get people riled up, man.
So you think that's going to continue into the match then?
I don't know. I think that that's for themselves. That has nothing to do with the other person. I think that they just need to be in their right state of mind going into the fight against each other, because if one person is too angry or too hyped up, then they can slip and make a poor decision and have the other fighter capitalize on that poor decision. Yeah. So I just think that it's the calm before the storm. I honestly think that, you know, they're going to go in there, they're going to fight it out, they're going to freaking try to knock each other's heads off. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to start boxing. So, yeah, that's how I think it's going to go.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's definitely, you know, because there's a category of boxer called the outboxer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's definitely something different between a fight and a boxer.
Yeah.
And, this one very easily could turn into a fight.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Who do you think right now? Because, I mean, you talked about Mike Tyson and you talked about Ali, and, you know, obviously both of them are top of the game. But who do you think right now is the best boxer professionally, currently competing?
See, unfortunately, I'm not as versed. I can only speak about the people that I'm familiar with.
Right.
In boxing right now. So if anybody feels as though this is shorting them, I just might not know enough. But
basically, we don't pay for the pay-per-views. Only what's like available on YouTube.
Okay.
Really.
Can we use? Yeah.
Like legit, I don't want to pay.
You,
I don't want to pay for pay-per-view. So my boxing experience is only like, oh, somebody uploaded this one. Great.
Right, yeah. But I would say that I feel like AJ is really good.
Yeah.
He got caught by Ruiz, but, you know, that was a learning experience, and that doesn't necessarily take away from him, because if you see how he came back and dominated Ruiz and got the belt back, you see that he's a man of resolve.
Yeah.
And, you know, he knew what went wrong there. And sometimes when you are so good that you have no competition and you go out there, not saying that you get a little, you know, you get a little overconfident sometimes.
Complacent.
Yeah. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to train that hard. You know, I'm going to fall back a little bit. And then somebody comes and they catch you, and he's been through that, and he doesn't want to go through that again. Yeah. Whereas somebody who's never lost, they don't know what defeat is going to do to them. Defeat for them might be like, you know what? That's it. I'm going to go ahead and retire because I'm not the same man. You know, they start doubting themselves and what they're capable of and stuff like that after that first defeat. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is not that guy. He's like, nope, I know what I did wrong. I'm gonna fix that.
He corrected it. He did. He legitimately
came
corrected
back in and went to work.
You know,
so
and
I honestly think that it's difficult, but I think that AJ is the best boxer right now.
I think AJ is definitely the best boxer too. I mean, his record before the Ruiz match was just impeccable. Yeah. I mean, like he was insane, and the reason I think that he lost that match, the first one, was he hardly ever gets really hit.
Yeah,
and so when he took that punch to the side of the head, it tore up his equilibrium. Right. So when he came back the second time, I know Ruiz was like, he won't come in, he won't fight me or whatever. It's like, dude, that's his strategy. Yeah. Like that didn't work for him last time. Like, keep him on the outside. Don't get frustrated. Keep your cool, which is what he did, and it worked. You know, so I definitely agree. I think Anthony AJ is top of the game currently.
You know, when you think about it, that is what boxing is. So from a fan standpoint, like, you know, the boxer has to understand the fans. Yeah. But the fans also have to understand the boxer. Like, what is it that you're looking for? You're looking for the sweet science. And I mean, while sometimes that might not be as entertaining, you know, people didn't like Floyd because, Floyd, he's too afraid to get in there. Was this freaking 1920 or something like that? Are people throwing the fisticuffs? No, they're not sluggers anymore. They're not strictly just pugilists. with maybe the exception of Deontay Wilder.
That's what I was going to say.
He's a boxer and a pugilist and all that. But like, yeah, for the most part, it's a science, man. Trying to hit without getting hit, and that's the goal. You want to have a long career in boxing. You want to have some longevity. You want to be able to live your life, without having issues later on from your boxing career. Don't get hit. That's the goal.
I mean, it's a game. So strategy is a big part. I mean, of course, speed, technique, strength, all these things are part of it, but strategy is a huge part of it. But speaking of strength, I want to throw this one out there.
Yeah.
So as you guys probably know by this point, T is a professional personal trainer.
Yes.
And, he's my trainer, but there's also a lot of other people that work out at the gym with us, and that he's their trainer too.
The squad.
I thought you said the squad at first, and I'm like, right now?
That too, but look, goodness gracious. But he's always ready. Ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
But we got a good buddy of ours who's training as well, and his name is Patrick.
That's right.
Won't say last names or anything because we didn't tell him that we were gonna
just in case
we were gonna mention it.
But what happened was I saw Patrick do some pretty significant weight previously on the Smith machine, right? So I said, as a joke, that he could probably bench myself and another one of the members that is about the same weight as me, right? And so we went in the locker room, we weighed ourselves. Just so happens that we were the exact same weight at the same time. So I said, now's the time. Patrick had only done, I think, legs at that point. And so we went out to the Smith machine. He got up under it and said, yeah, so you're going to be benching us today. He said, what? I said, yep, going to be benching us. So we held on to the bar tightly as we could. And this man, Patrick.
One on each side, so that way it was
even
and everything. They didn't grab onto the middle.
To the same bar, yeah. He proceeded to bench press us into the air and back down. One clean one. And then I'm pretty sure he might have done a pause rep. He might have done a pause when he got down to a certain point. And then paused at the chest and then came back up. So propers to Patrick, man. Shout out to him because this guy is uber strong. If anybody needs a security guard or a bodyguard or...
Altogether with the bar, and then it was 365 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So...
and, people aren't the same as weight because their weight will get
You
distributed differently.
We're holding on tightly, but certain things are not accounted for. And so, he had to balance us out. Or we had to hang, but he had to balance us out. So just imagine what that would be like. 2 grown men, and he's bench pressing us. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you ever walking down the street and you feel a tremor, and you're like, oh no, it's about to be an earthquake. That's just Patrick walking down the street.
I'd officially like to announce that I'm giving up working out because there's no point anymore. I'm never...
Like, wait, what you haven't bench press? How much you bench? People. Yeah? Grown men.
How many people have you benched
How
today?
many people have you benched? Oh, man. Yeah.
But the last thing that we got on our list is a little bit more somber. As mentioned before, we're both martial artists. I recently, within the last few months, started doing Wing Chun. And it's been a bad couple of weeks for Wing Chun. Anybody who knows what Wing Chun is, it's a martial arts system that before developing Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee was famous for using. And Bruce Lee's master was a guy named Ip Man. Ip Man has a film franchise, a bunch of film franchises actually based around him. And the 4th one is currently in theaters in the Donnie Yen series. Ip Man's second-born son, Ip Ching, recently passed away, and that's a big loss for people in the Wing Chun community because he was a grandmaster. He was certainly one of the older people doing a style that is very quickly becoming lost to time. So that's very unfortunate. And then on top of that, my Sifu, my master, also passed away this last week, or last few weeks, again, depending on when this releases. And he was a pretty influential person in the Wing Chun community as well. So it's been a rough couple of weeks for Wing Chun, but the interesting part about it is, I guess, that Ip Ching died while Ip Man 4 is still in theaters. So that's a very interesting thing, that while his father's legacy is being represented and still being, put out there, is when he passed away. So at least he got to see the fourth movie. At least he got to experience that. It wasn't like it was still in the works when he passed away.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Ip Ching, man.
Yeah. Incredible martial artist.
Yes. I'm just getting into, I was just getting into the franchise, so I didn't really know as much about him, as like I know about Bruce Lee and about Ip Man and so on and so forth. And so it's interesting to see and to hear, the stories about the people who helped Bruce Lee get to where he was.
Yeah.
And you always give the one thing that you do if you're a martial artist of any kind is you give credit where it is due. Yeah. And we're big on respect and in the martial arts community. And so, all credit, somebody had to teach your mentor, and somebody had to teach your mentor's mentor, and so on and so forth. And so, just in general, if you got something from someplace, remember where you got it from, and make sure that person's name stays alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, Wing Chun is, like I said, it's starting to get lost to time a little bit. Yeah. Hopefully the Ip Man franchise
help rejuvenate it.
Yes, help rejuvenating it. And Bruce Lee, again, he did that for many, many, many years before developing Jeet Kune Do. Mm-hmm. He said some unflattering things about Wing Chun, but at the same time, Jeet Kune Do, his style, is extremely heavily based on Wing Chun. Yeah, it is very similar.
Yeah, I think it was the platform.
It was the platform for sure, and I think that the reason that Jeet Kune Do worked so well for him and Wing Chun didn't is because he was so fast. A lot of Wing Chun is block and then do this and then do that. Right. Well, he didn't have to do these 4 or 5 other things when he can get it in the first one. But most people aren't as fast as him, and most people aren't Bruce Lee. So that being said, I think that Wing Chun, it's an incredible style. It's beautiful to watch in these movies. It's all about leverage and speed. It was created by a woman for self-defense for women back in ancient China. So it was about somebody who was smaller being able to fight somebody who was bigger and stronger than them. And that's a powerful tool, something that can allow people to have strength without using strength, without using physical power. So it hopefully, hopefully the news of this and hopefully the movies and hopefully, Bruce Lee movies still being out there will rejuvenate Wing Chun a little bit. Robert Downey Jr. does Wing Chun and he talks about it a lot. So, it's whenever a martial arts style or anything from the past starts to go away, it's an unfortunate thing because we need to stay true to our history. These are practices that hundreds of years ago people were doing, and we're doing the same things now. Right. It's keeping a tradition alive. So if you guys are looking for a martial arts system, Google Ip Ching, look up his legacy, look up Ip Man, look up early Bruce Lee, and, maybe sign up. If you guys are in the Norfolk area, look up the school I practice at. As I mentioned, our Sifu just passed away from cancer as well, but we're trying to keep his legacy alive as well. That's all I got for that one. I'm drifting off now.
Well, This has been another edition of the Bing Zang Zoom Podcast. You're here with T.
And Matthew.
And we will see you next time. Farewell.
Peace.